Welcome to Syncast powered by Commercient. I'm Heath McKnight. Today, I'd like to welcome Alison Kravchuk, President and CEO of LivingLegacy, and also Senior Consultant at RVR Consulting Group. Alison, please tell me about LivingLegacy.
So LivingLegacy Consultancy is an organization that helps companies leverage the technology that they have to position their company for acquisition or to scale for growth or waxing and waning economic conditions.
How do you approach helping these companies, especially if they're looking to scale up and grow their sales, maybe eventually add more locations, et cetera?
So essentially what we do is, honestly, I do a lot of discovery work with key influencers to understand their workflow, their work processes. And then I meet with the frontline salespeople, because oftentimes what we find is what sounds good in the boardroom doesn't play well in the field. So the corporate office has a strategic initiative. They say, this is our initiative. And then they push it downstream, but yet downstream, they don't either have the business acumen or the technical expertise to leverage technology, or even an idea or plan on how to eat that elephant to achieve that strategic initiative. So we come in and work alongside those sales managers. I serve as a fractional sales manager for a bunch of different clients. They actually have sales managers, but they're just really good salespeople that have done well in the company, and they don't have any sales management experience. And that's where the technology piece really comes into play, to understand what KPIs are, how we leverage those KPIs. And Commercient has been a great partner for us, because with the advent of connecting Commercient to their CRM, their sales team is able to have a greater line of sight to open opportunities, to business development, to have their finger on the pulse of what's actually happening with their customers, with the delivery. Where is that order in the pipeline? As a result, this company has increased their sales by 20%.
Incredible.
It is incredible. And, Commercient has been a great partner for us, because as the company, during our first initial installation and deployment, we had some sync issues, and we kind of phase one would sync the data in. Phase two, at this point, we're more mature now. Commerciant's been syncing for more than 18 months. So we were ready for kind of that second level of insight. And Commercient, because of the MCOs that already come kind of along for the ride when you are syncing an ERP, in this case, it was Infor SXC to Salesforce. Those managed custom objects that Commercient has grandfathered were super helpful, because some of those data points were already captured. So all we had to do was draw them out onto some of the reports that we needed to provide the sales team with, again, more detail, more granular detail on the company, the status that they have, the terms that they may have, so that we can develop more deeply those strategic partnerships.
Excellent. And when I talk to companies, they either, and especially consultants, they either have like some kind of built-in CRM, or I talked to a customer that was using a CRM that was essentially discontinued years ago, but they were able to keep it on a server and somehow keep it alive for a few years until they finally upgraded to Salesforce. With the digital transformation, with helping them scale up, and whether the company are looking for an acquisition or not to be purchased, how does something like Salesforce, a CRM, help the businesses, help the sales team to grow and everything?
Well, the CRM, if it's leveraged and used correctly, acts as an administrative assistant for that salesperson. So if you're using the technology, you can amplify your efforts at least twofold, if not threefold. And what I mean by that is that salespeople like to hunt. They're hunters, and that's what they do, and that's what they do best. However, this development, some of those sales cycles take a little bit longer. So, for example, a CRM, I could be talking with a prospect, and they say, we're really interested in your product. However, I'm going on holiday and I won't be back for the next 2 weeks. So with Salesforce, we just create a task record reminding ourselves, call this person and ask them how their holiday was. The Salesforce CRM is very helpful in helping us not only develop relationships, but be good stewards of those relationships too, so that we can report out on things that have happened or trends that we're seeing. And it gives that salesperson an amplified voice to deliver a higher level of service and a better sales process for the customer. So
Gotcha.
it keeps the relationship more sticky. So you've won them over because they've entrusted you with information. You're using that information. You're populating fields in Salesforce. You're leveraging that information to build the case for why they would purchase your product. They end up purchasing your product. And now they are a trusted customer. And because of Salesforce, you can put them into a stewardship cycle and then just upsell them, continue to look and go deeper and wider. That's what Salesforce has enabled the sales teams that I work with.
That's amazing. And I think one thing that's kind of maybe not as appreciated for businesses, especially those that may do a huge amount of just sales. We have a client in England. They're in the botanical world. They would get a lot of leads and they would call up and they're more B2B. So it's not like they're just selling one or two products related to agriculture and botanical. They're selling a lot. It's like a fertilizer product. And he said he would just move on. If they're not interested, you move on. And he said just the small act of a reminder, he or his sales team will now type in a reminder saying they're not ready, but they do seem to be more interested. Right. He or his team get a reminder 2-3 weeks, whatever later. And he's closing more deals because they're going back. Yes, they're still bringing in a tremendous amount of sales, but they grew it even more. Right. Just a simple little thing of reminder. Or I like what you said about, hey, how was your vacation? Something like that is that little touch can sometimes mean the difference between closing a deal with you versus your competitor. As weird as that sounds, people love great customer service.
People do love great customer service. And to your point on the lead generation is that, especially if they're using kind of a partner, a native thing called Pardot, they can put that lead into kind of a stewardship cadence so that it's automated, but yet it appears as if you have sent the email. And so lead generation, if you think about what that is, when someone raises their hand, I'd like more information, that's a buy signal. You have to, in real time, respond to them, because the nice thing about having a CRM is that in real time, they send you hey, I'd like additional information. You get that in real time. You can immediately have an automation that responds in real time. And then that can be followed up either with a phone call, or maybe it's a phone call that happens in real time. If you don't reach them, you haven't forgotten them. People like to be remembered. They like to be served. And so sales is all about earning the right to be heard. A lot of that has to do with listening. And so what I like about Salesforce is that kind of in the same way that you're doing this now, you ask these questions and then comes the discovery piece. So I take a lot of notes while I'm talking to people in Salesforce. I could be taking notes right now. You'd never even know because I can type really quickly. But basically what you're doing is you're giving me all the information that I need to make that case for support and to highlight specific features about whatever product it is that I'm selling to address whatever critical pain point they're experiencing or they're feeling. The ability to problem solve in a more consultative way and to really, again, deliver that high level of customer service and touch. Maybe they don't buy from you, but they'll remember that you followed up in real time. You cared about what their situation is. You now have a history of what their situation is, so that when they call back in 6 months from now, because maybe your price was a little bit higher, and they understand that, sure, I could get it cheaper. It might be a foreign product, not domestic, but they trust you. And that's all that we're trying to do in sales, is just trying to win trust and earn the right for the business.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I think that I like about getting back to Commercient is even just being able to, a customer calls up, hey, what's going on with my order, especially in this day and age with the ongoing supply chain.
Exactly.
They don't have to send them off to customer service, because we have customers where it's tied into FedEx. It's perfect. They can monitor. But a lot of our customers, they'll send out, up to 18-wheeler of whatever widget they're selling, whether they're distributing or manufacturing and getting it to their distributors or direct to their clients. But what's nice is that they can go in and they can look, because we're syncing, okay, these parts are coming in, and it should be in within a week, because the operations can start tracking that on their own software, usually the ERP, and then they can keep that up to date. I think ERPs are very powerful. We have our own ERP, but the problem is that reporting versus like a Salesforce isn't as good. So they can pull up the account on Salesforce on their device, on their mobile device, and they could say, okay, they ordered XYZ last year, and they can quickly either check a dashboard or create a report in Salesforce, and then they can go in and they can deliver. It's not like, so what are you looking for? They can say, hey, listen, I remember you ordered this. Would you like to do that? And by the way, we have a new product that just came in. We have 50 in stock. Would you like to try it? That kind of a thing.
No, so here's my thought is that ERPs are industrial strength software solutions for companies. Typically, they're not intuitive. And it's incredibly important what's happening on the ERP side as it rolls up to the financials and things like that, as you build out your build of materials to make sure that you can produce things just in time. But what I like about the CRM aspect of it, and the reason Commercient has such a high value for my clients, they don't have to log into a complicated ERP system, which is the system of record, which quite frankly, you don't want people really in other than, your accounting and things like that. So you have an industrial strength solution over here. You have an industrial strength solution that is specifically and expressly for customer service and sales. Mm-hmm. Commercient is the bridge that translates this data into usable data so that your customers, my clients, are not reacting, they're responding. Get ahead of things. So, for example, if we see that something's been back ordered and there is a supply chain issue, you can get notification that is stuck in the ordered stage, right? Mm-hmm. So we can proactively say, well, this record has aged a certain amount of time. It should have shipped by then. Give me an alert. And now I'm proactively communicating with my customer saying, there is a supply chain issue. It's been identified. We're working on it. The new expected delivery date is thus and such. People don't like surprises. And so Commercient gives us the ability to get ahead of what would be a surprising and disappointing notice or a missed shipment date. And so that's one of the benefits of Commercient too, is it translates the what I would say complicated world of ERPs into, and maybe it's not Salesforce, maybe it's another GUI type environment for a salesperson to be able to consume that kind of important information in real time. And one of the things that I really like about, I just did this yesterday for a client, talking about supply chain issues. Typically, we don't get into the product line items and product consumption in Salesforce, but it's there. So I was able to very quickly pull up a products report, like what is in demand right now, what has shipped, what has been ordered, to show our procurement officer to say, look, heads up. They're getting those reports out of the ERP, but the ERP reports are not interactive. They're static PDFs that they get. Now, this particular client that I'm thinking of has, a version of SXE that's, I don't know, it's on-prem. It's like a server.
Yeah.
So you can imagine training someone on that kind of antiquated dot matrix type system, really labor intensive. Whereas you go to Salesforce and you have like, I need the contact. Oh, well, contact object. It's right there. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. And I guess just maybe one more question. And I know that not all of your customers are probably going to need a CRM. However, in the future, when they're like saying, Alison, I think we really do need something like a Salesforce to really take us to the next level. Or maybe after talking to them, you say, I think this would benefit your company. Do you feel that when you're in that process with them, having a partner like Commercient that can integrate their ERP with Salesforce or whichever CRM they may decide, do you think that kind of gives it a little bit of an edge, not having to, try to develop it in-house or trying to find somebody, and it's kind of a crapshoot if you haven't worked with them before?
Well, I'm not sure I'm following the question, but I did just serve on a call with a customer that Commercient is working with.
Okay.
Considering Salesforce, they're considering Commercient. They're also maybe considering other solutions. They have S2K. And what I like about Commercient is that you have a tried and true industrial strength solution. That's all you do, and you do it very well. And you've got excellent customer support. So I feel confident in recommending Commercient to my clients because I've had a really positive experience. Their tech support is very responsive in real time. They work on our problem. They solve the problems that we have. I haven't had an instance where Commercient just said, I'm sorry, it can't be done that way. And especially because as I said, Commercient was able to go back in time and to connect to a really old system. But we know that the strength, and when they upgrade that ERP system, Commercient will be right there. They know our company, they know the business, they know where all the potholes are in a bad system with a company, by the way, that's been in business for 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a breath of fresh air to be able to have a system that is depressing to work with. And we have Commercient, and then we have like Sunlight and Day, and there are my customers, because the company is 60 years old. Some of those salespeople have been there for 30 years. You can imagine. Yeah, the user adoption was a big concern, and they're all doing it. They're all power users. They've all increased their sales significantly because salespeople want to sell. Yeah. They want that feeling that they get when they close a big deal. Oh, and yeah. Because Commercient has given us the visibility that we needed, we can now deliver that great feeling to the salespeople. So I'm not sure if that answered your question. No, that does. That really does. And I know I said that would be my last question, but you said something interesting, and I hear this a lot with consultants, is sometimes salespeople that have been, they have their processes and they hear, what do you mean CRM? What? No, this is what I've done. How did your clients' sales team, the ones that have maybe been there 20, 30 plus years, how did they come to adopt and appreciate and really become power users of Salesforce? Was there any kind of training, or did they just really like the value of it? And as you said, they just love selling. Well, I trained them. And again, salespeople really like to make money. So I train them on how they're going to make more money. Literally. This is how you're going to make more money. So for example, any new quote that was created in their ERP, they log in the morning and they see new quotes that were created yesterday, and they start working those immediately. Versus getting a PDF that was 12 pages long with dot matrix and trying to figure out. So they have at their fingertips right there an electronic version of that order. They know what they've ordered. They can print the order. They can walk the order in. But they didn't have that information before. So literally, these guys, they're in their 60s, and they're like, Alison, you're going to have to come and you're going to have to train me. I said, no problem. I'll absolutely train you. Now they dictate their comment on their phone because they're making a lot more money. So it's kind of what gets rewarded, gets repeated. So you just have to show them this is how you make more money. They realize it, they make the more money, and now they want more. Like, okay, well, I'm ready for the next step. Let's get a business card scanner in. Boom. We just connected it. And so I don't have any worry about getting those guys to adopt any technology, because salespeople want to make money and they will do what it takes to make money. And when you show them that they're, and a lot of times what I'll do as a consultant, I'll say, are you using Excel for any reason? Oh, yes, I do. I have all my customers, they're coded. I said, okay, well, what do you mean? Let's talk about that. So they explain, oh, well, this is my A-rated customer. I said, okay, well, I don't want you at all in this Excel environment. Especially, the CEO doesn't need all that intellectual property outside of the system. We need to have everything in the system. And so we work with them to say, what is your current workflow? Here it is in like a CRM or a Salesforce. This is, you want that Excel spreadsheet? All right, here's your opportunity list view. You want to be able to sort it and filter by A-rated accounts. You want to see what their total purchase history was last year versus this year, what the delta is, where you have to go. You can do that in real time so quickly. And they do it themselves too now, because that's fantastic. It's that easy. Yeah. Yeah.
That's excellent. And then having, like you mentioned, having that ERP data coming over that kind of supercharges Salesforce in a way.
Supercharges. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. It was excellent. Thank you for watching and listening to SYNCcast powered by Commercient. If you'd like to learn more about Sync, ERP, and CRM data integration, please visit our website, commercient.com. Thank you.